Hello, everybody. I'm Ricky Smith. Welcome to Faith on Friday Presents. At Faith on Friday Presents, we're all about highlighting, inspiring people, engaging topics, and small business as well. And don't forget, while you're here, subscribe to this YouTube channel, like our Facebook page, and follow us on Instagram. We don't want you to miss a thing. All right, ladies, I know that you know that I know. We are out there in the gyms, on the streets, doing all the things that we're supposed to be and do. They say we're supposed to be beautiful at all times, and really, who has the time? But have you ever thought about bodybuilding? Not just the big, huge muscle thing, but what about bikini? I have an amazing guest today who's going to tell us all about it. First of all, everybody, please say hello to Wendy Hyatt. Hi, Wendy. How are you?
I'm awesome, Ricky. Thank you so much for having me.
Girl, thank you so much for being here. Before we get into this, I'm excited because of your title. I'm going to try to get this right, y'all, so don't judge. Y'all, Miss Wendy is a three-time WNBF Pro Master Bikini World Champion. I know, right? First of all, Wendy, tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're located, and what is the WMBF, my friend?
Oh my gosh, Ricky, you you deserve a star. You got it right. It is
It's a
a really
lot.
long title. So let me see if I can get all those questions in. I am right outside of Boston, Massachusetts. My name is Wendy Hyatt, and WNBF stands for World Natural Bodybuilding Federation. And it was an organization my coach had recommended because it is natural. I wasn't looking for steroids. I just wanted to get back into shape. After
Mhm.
having kids, it's like, where did my body go? Who am I? What is my purpose? How do I get my confidence back? How could
Yeah.
I even? I don't think I ever had confidence before. So
Wow. So
that's
you
me.
went from, oh my gosh, I need to get in shape, get my body back after having kids, to a three-time Pro Master Bikini World Champion. And you're wondering where your confidence went. So, first of all, Wendy, how did you get into it? You said your coach recommended this to you. Had you ever heard of a Pro Master Bikini Champion before?
No, no, I never even had a coach before I had kids.
Mm-hmm.
I actually studied exercise physiology in undergrad, so I
Okay.
figured I knew what it took to be healthy and be in
Mm-hmm.
shape. And lo and behold, when I had my first kid, I was like, whoa, none of this stuff is working. And I was
Wow.
like, I don't know why, but my body is not responding the way it used to in high
Yeah.
school and college. And your friends say, "Oh, well, didn't anyone tell you? Once you have kids, your body's never the same."
Yeah.
And then
That's another reason to blame the children every day for the rest of their lives.
yeah, yeah. And then I got to the point where I started thinking, well, maybe she's right. Maybe they're right. Nobody told me any different. And a year of trying to do
Mm-hmm.
different workouts in the gym, trying different healthy diets, I was ready to give up.
Yeah.
So I knew that I always knew that I needed to move. We needed to
Mm-hmm.
move on a regular basis to stay healthy, right?
Sure.
So how am I going to do that when I realize that none of it's working? And the definition of insanity is doing the same thing, expecting a different result, right? So
Mm-hmm.
logically, it makes sense to stop working out because it's not working.
Right.
So I did that. I did that when I had kids. When my son was a year and a half old, I said I was done. It's not
Mm-hmm.
worth it. It's not worth the hassle to try to find childcare. I'm not noticing any results. It's just getting me tired.
Mm-hmm.
So I gave up. And
Wow.
when I did that, I was giving up on myself too. And I was
Mm-hmm.
that the thought of this is just the way it's going to be was what I was settling with, and it felt terrible. I don't know if
Yeah.
you've ever said that or heard other people say that, but it's like
Sure.
that's defeat, right?
Yeah.
So I guess I was searching for something that was simple. I mean, I'm pretty lazy. If people don't like they don't know that, but I am lazy.
Right?
And my self-discipline is non-existent. I'm
Wow.
not the type of person who will get up and go work out
Hmm.
because it's necessary or something.
Right.
But my husband will. I'm
Hmm.
not like my husband. He's very regimented. He knows he needs to do it and he does
Right.
it. There's no negotiating going on inside his brain.
Sure. Or trying to talk yourself out of it.
Yeah, all these reasons why I could be doing something else. So
Exactly.
I knew I needed something to really get myself out of my rut. I
Mhm.
knew I needed accountability. I knew I needed to pay for accountability. So
Mhm.
if anyone out there is considering bodybuilding, it's not a cheap sport. It's not a
Whoa,
cheap hobby.
really?
Yeah,
Okay, that part right there, I didn't know that because I'm thinking bodybuilding, right? You go to GNC, you buy all of the protein, blah, 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 all the things. You get a gym membership, and your new job is now just going to the gym all day and lifting weights. And you just
yeah.
said it's not cheap.
No.
What kind of expenses are we looking at?
So that's a great question, Ricky. So what goes into it is usually finding most people will hire a
Mhm.
coach who has experience with this kind of a sport and this level of accountability. They'll create a meal plan, and it's not just eating 3 square meals a day.
Mhm.
It's eating at least 4 or 5 full meals a day, and you're
Wow.
cooking lots of protein, whether
Mhm.
it's chicken, fish, or meat.
Mhm.
Or you can do a vegetarian as well too. It's just a little
Sure.
bit more challenging, but it's a lot of food. And
Wow.
towards the end of competing, it
Mhm.
is 5 meals a day of chicken or fish. That's a lot of birds. It's a lot of, I eat a small flock of birds. Not
Every
to,
day.
yeah, not to gross people out, but so it's the increased amount of food that you're buying,
Mhm.
the groceries, plus the supplements. They're all different kinds of supplements that go along
Right.
with it for stress, for your immune system, for overall nutrition, the vitamins, the minerals that we're
Mhm.
not getting when we're just eating protein and green leafy vegetables.
Wow.
Um, then there's the organization fee. Like you have to belong to an organization in order to compete in it. Then you pay
Mhm.
for the competition itself. Then you pay for tanning unless you do it yourself, but I don't recommend doing it yourself.
Right. Okay.
There's the tanning, that's quite a bit. If you have hair, then there's the hair cost, the makeup for competing. It's not just your everyday look, it is
Yeah.
glam
Full
to the max.
glam.
Yeah. And
Eyelashes, everything.
yeah, yeah, the full like pop, hi, I'm here. You're not you're not gonna blend into the background.
Yeah.
Um,
Wow.
yeah. And then there's posing that goes along with it. So
Sure.
yeah, so sometimes I pay for private coaching for working out. So I'll work out with my coach. That
Mhm.
costs money. I pay for private and group posing classes with another
Posing
coach.
classes.
Yeah, how to showcase yourself on stage. So
Mhm.
you're showing off your assets and not showing like and hiding your not like less favorable parts.
Right.
It's a lot of illusion
Wow.
creating, and there's
Is
an
it really? I mean, I am sitting here absolutely shocked, Wendy, because I've always wanted to talk to you about this anyway. Here's one of my questions I've always had. You said about the tanning. All right. I'm a little brown girl, you may have noticed. And there are other women of color darker than me, some lighter than me, but do we still tan in something like that?
um you probably won't have to, or you can use, it depends on the shade of
Mm-hmm.
dark
Mm-hmm.
that you are. The darker you are, the better the definition will show up.
Because I always
So
wondered, why are you tanning anyway? And you just gave me the answer to
yeah,
show
because
definition.
if I show up on stage, even though I
Mm-hmm.
can tan in the summertime, I will
Sure.
still, my muscles will just wash out. You won't see the lines and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And we didn't even get to the suit itself. It's not just
Yeah.
bikini. It is like when people want to bling it out, they want to bling it out. And
I've seen some of your pictures, and trust me, right now, as you and I are talking, people are looking at you in various outfits. These are not something you bought at Walmart.
I would not go swimming with them either because there's a lot of it's dainty.
Mhm.
It's smaller than my undergarments actually.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's just really to show off your muscle definition and
Mhm.
what you've worked on. But
Yeah,
there's an art to the actual design, the patterns on your particular suit. It's,
yeah.
it goes the color choice, then it's like the crystals, the colors of the crystals that go on to it. Yeah. And then like the connectors, what kind of connectors, how much bling do you want?
Who
Those
knew?
those are several $100s.
Are
Sometimes they're
they
over a
really?
thousand. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you could go to Vegas right now, become a showgirl in this outfit, and probably still be spending more than these girls are out in Vegas. I mean, these outfits, you're telling me stuff I've never heard before. Now, here's another thing. Wendy, these are world natural bodybuilding. All right. Now, I understand the concept of natural, but why a natural versus, I guess, what the other one, unnatural? What's the difference here?
Enhanced maybe. So
Okay.
um a natural federation will do drug testing. We'll do polygraph testing, urine testing to make sure that you're not using synthetics like steroids or
Mhm.
yeah, that sort of a thing, because the steroids can give you an extra boost.
Mhm.
You can, if you do it correctly, show this growth in a shorter
Mhm.
amount of time than
Mhm.
you would a natural bodybuilder. A natural bodybuilder can take years for visible muscle growth, like a good
Right.
year. Whereas people who use steroids or other enhancements
Mhm.
take a few months. So it's,
Wow.
but of course there are side effects that come along with
Yeah.
um, the enhancements.
Now
I'm not,
you
yeah.
you said this also, like the time that it takes to be a natural bodybuilder. You are literally just working on the muscle that you have to build that. Can you really look like that naturally versus doing the enhancements? I mean, what's your workout look like if you're doing something natural to get that body?
I mean, there's always work that goes into it, right?
Mm.
It's maxing out your muscles
Mm.
in an effective way without minimizing injuries. It's a fine balance.
Mhm.
There's a lot of form that goes into it. It's pushing your limits.
Wow.
Um, you can over time build that kind of musculature.
Mhm.
Um, but it just, I guess it depends on like what is your goal,
What's
right?
your goal?
You
Yeah. I mean, I'm thinking, and I hear the collective questions because they're floating around in my head. Is there such thing as too old to get started?
no.
Is there such thing as too old to compete?
No. Oh my gosh. That question was just blown out of the water when one of my teammates, she's in her what is she? She's in her late 50s, early
Mhm.
60s, and that's when she started competing. And she said, because I started so late in life, I feel like I can do this forever. And that kind of blew my
Wow.
mind because I meet a lot of people who start in their 20s, or I
Mhm.
started when I was 35,
Mhm.
36. And there's this, I felt like there was a cap at, I mean, it
Mhm.
really depends on why you're doing it. Is it,
Yeah.
for me, it was to feel something different, was to find confidence in myself, to really be that mom, be that role model for my kids when
Wow.
they're going through something challenging and they're going for a goal. How can I tell them it's going to be hard, but it's going to be
Mhm.
worth it if I don't live that?
Wow.
So I needed to find a hard for myself, and people
Mhm.
come to me for weight loss, and
Mhm.
how can they believe me when it's easy for them to say, oh, well, it's easy for you because you don't have any weight to lose.
Right.
You don't understand. This is hard for me. And
Mm-hmm.
I can say I understand what hard feels like.
Yeah.
It may look different on me than it does on you, but
Sure.
we all go through things that are hard. And it's
Mm-hmm.
how we talk ourselves through it, how we support ourselves, how we surround ourselves with people
Yeah.
who help us
I
versus.
love that, surrounding yourself with people that will help you. So now, as a three-time world champion, I know that we talked earlier, and you've pretty much retired now. When was your last competition?
November 2022.
Okay, and you've retired.
Yeah.
What are you doing now? Because that was your life the way that you were saying is, this is a lifetime, this is a commitment, girl.
Yeah.
And now you're retired from this commitment. What does that look like for you now?
Hmm. Ugh, Ricky, you ask amazing questions. So that is sort of in transition for me right now, but and I actually love this time as much as it feels unnerving.
Mm-hmm.
There's this piece of me where I get to ask myself, what is it that I really want? Or what do I want to learn about myself now? Or what is the
That's
purpose
good.
of
Wow.
that 8 to 9 year chunk of my life? Like
Mm-hmm.
why did I do that? Um, and I feel like it really was to help me with my like confidence to be an entrepreneur because I never had
That's good.
experience doing that.
Mm-hmm.
And who am I? It's easy to ask, who am I to be the person to be any expert or coach or anything for
Mm-hmm.
anybody? But it's because I've gone through some challenging piece and I challenged my own identity of who I was.
That's good.
Before competing, I
Mm-hmm.
felt like I was the skinny little person who was weak, who was shy all the time and just had no direction.
Um,
And now that I've experienced confidence and feeling like just really loving where I am in my
mm-hmm.
body, feeling so comfortable in my body, how do I share that with other people? How do I share that experience?
Mm-hmm.
How do I love my body now because it's not stage ready?
Yeah.
Being stage ready is not sustainable. And
Really?
people don't
Wow.
realize that. People
No,
you
I didn't. Like I said, I've seen your pictures. I've met you in person. You are stunning. And you are extremely fit. But like you said, this was your lifestyle for so long. But you said stage ready is not sustainable. What's the difference between your training and stage ready?
So stage ready is when you have very little body fat on you. And
Mm,
and that comes with a lot of I don't want to use the word restriction, but it's a very particular diet. It's a very
mm.
particular way of being. And I just have to say, carbs are life. Carbs. I stopped taking carbs for granted when
Yeah.
when I was competing. I'm like, people don't realize like ketchup is amazing. That's not a carb,
Ketchup,
but it's like
Wendy, ketchup?
I'm like honey in my tea. Like that is
Like people do
divine.
this?
Like I have never appreciated honey so much in my life,
Wow.
or just pastries, whatever,
Oh,
or
pastries.
someone else cooking for me. That is, oh, it's such a luxury.
Because you and I had spoken one other time before this, and you were saying that when you were becoming stage ready, when you were in your training to compete, you would have to tell your kids, back up because mommy's going to be off carbs for a while. What was that like?
my my husband, before he left for work, he's like, wait, are you doing zero carbs today? He's like, oh, kids, be nice to mommy. She's got zero carbs on board, or something like that. And they're like, oh.
They knew it was not going to be fun.
Yeah. If mommy's not having fun, you guys are not
Nobody's not
having
having,
fun.
that's right. Freaking
No ice
everyone's
cream,
eating.
no grilled cheese, no pizza, no chicken nuggets.
Wow, you will suffer with
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
Dang it.
Are
That is
you?
hilarious.
No.
But now you're out, you're doing things, like the rest of us, honey, ketchup, pastries, somebody else cooking for you. Did you find your confidence, Wendy?
Hmm. I'm still looking for it in different ways.
Oh, that's good. Explain.
Yeah. So as a mom, like what there's always the question of like, am I a good mom? Am I doing
Mm.
a good job? Or am I totally screwing up my kids? I mean,
Let me help you. Part of being a good mom is kind of screwing them up, giving them something to talk to with their therapist. You're
yeah.
welcome.
Yeah. And yeah, it's thinking about that. And there are moments which really solidify that for me. it's
Yeah.
it's when my daughter, who is learning how to play softball, she comes to me before a tournament weekend, and she
Mm.
says, "Mommy, how did you deal with your nerves when you were on stage?" And I'm like, "Oh,
Love it.
this is why I did this," right?
Yeah.
And I was like,
Yeah.
wow, she's actually coming to me for advice. And
Mm-hmm.
I think about how many different ways that I am being a parent differently than my parents were to me.
Oh, sure.
And I understand that there's so many different the times were different,
Yeah.
and it calls for parenting differently. So
Yeah.
um I think just being there for my kids,
Mm-hmm.
that is that's giving me the confidence to just continue what I'm doing. And
Yeah.
I'm
Wow.
constantly thinking about, how does this affect my kids? How can I grow myself now?
Mm-hmm.
What is my next version of myself? And how do I include my kids with that too?
Oh, that's so good. But it sounds like not only have you found your confidence, you have obtained your goal, you have helped the kids by doing the hard thing that you said, and being a role model in saying, being able to say, if I did it because I'm lazy, you can do it too. And it's not too late to start. Quickly, Wendy, I know that you are working as an entrepreneur. What is the product that you are working with right now?
The company that I'm affiliated with is Isogenics, and it's a global health and wellness company that has supported me through this whole bodybuilding journey and got
Mm.
me interested in the first place. And
Yeah.
I love the science behind it. I didn't talk about this, but my previous job was a physician assistant in orthopedic surgery. And
Mm.
I love science, and
Mhm.
I just love the science behind the system and how it was just foundational.
Um,
Protein was something that I never really appreciated until bodybuilding. And
mm.
I have watched, it's such a beautiful community of people who are
Wow.
decades, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, feeling more vibrant than they did in their 30s and 40s. And I wanted to be around these people who were positive, who were
Mhm.
doing things. They were full of vitality versus being in the hospital setting where everyone's
Yeah.
like, whatever you do, don't get old. And every ailment is linked to them being old. And I'm like,
Sure.
that's not the way it needs to be. So that's why I just love it. It's
Yeah.
nutrition
Man.
foundation.
I like that nutrition is foundation. So, Wendy, if somebody wanted to reach out to you or continue this conversation or find out about your products and services, where's the best place for them to find you?
Oh, they can find me on Instagram. My Instagram handle is Wendy Hyatt Wellness, or on Facebook, it's Wendy Lock Hyatt, LOK.
Awesome. I love it. Don't worry, y'all. If you did not get her information, it's all going to be in the description below. So you will be able to find her and check out her amazing pictures. But don't forget, while you're here, subscribe to this YouTube channel, like our Facebook page, and follow us on Instagram. Wendy, my friend, before I let you go, I got a game for you, girl. This game is so simple. It's just a way for us to get to know you better. It's called What's Your Favorite? And I'm just going to ask you some stuff and you're just going to tell me what your favorite of it is. Are you ready to play, my friend?
So ready.
Let's do this. Wendy, what's your favorite beverage to enjoy?
Mm. Just one?
Go, girl. It's your game. How many you got?
Uh, well, the first two that come to my mind is I start my day with an e-shot, which is just green tea and some adaptogens. And I like to end my day with my collagen elixir. It's just a nice nightcap.
Wow. Why am I not surprised that red wine isn't in there? Okay, whatever. What is your favorite television show, Wendy?
My own, if I had one, I
Oh,
don't watch TV.
I like that. My own, if I had one. Yes, ma'am. That is so good. What is your favorite way to relax at the end of the day?
Ooh, a nice cup of tea.
Ah, that's pretty nice. What is your favorite time of the year?
Wow, there's so many favorites for me. I guess probably the time between Christmas and New Year's
Mm.
because nobody's asking for anything. Just everyone's off doing their own thing and
Right?
I can sit and reflect. Um, but I find that as long as I can take a lesson, find a lesson in each day,
Mhm.
that is my favorite time of year.
Man, that is deep. And finally, Wendy, my friend, what does your perfect day look like?
Ooh. Um, Waking up without an alarm, working out with my husband, having a beautiful breakfast that is protein based, and going for walks, doing something active outside.